So we're here for our third conversation with the Majlis Masters founders, myself, Stefan Lindberg-Jones, and Jeffrey Asselstine. Good to see you, Jeffrey.
You as well, my friend. You as well.
So
And then,
I've been thinking...
in BNI fashion, where are you and how are you?
Yes, it's not my usual setup. I am here in the UK. We decided to see the window of opportunity, and I flew out because I work online most of the time. So there was my opportunity to take the kids on as they were on holiday as well, and go and visit my sister-in-law. And left my wife earning, so she's keeping the roof over their head and food on the table and money in the pocket. So okay, here I am in a small little loft storage area. You might see some storage behind me. So yeah.
You filter it nicely. You just have blur.
Well, that's what I thought. I tried with all the different backgrounds, and I just thought, what am I doing? This all looks fake. And every time I move back, my headphones disappear. So I thought, well, I might as well just blur the background so you're not looking behind me and going, what is that behind him? It's a bit weird. And that's what my wife said. Be careful what is behind you, because my sister-in-law lives on her own. She's got a nice townhouse, and she's in her late 40s, and she likes to enjoy life. So there might be interesting things in this storeroom. So let's not, if you know what I mean.
I'll leave it at that.
Yes, exactly. Anyway. Great to see you.
You as well.
And what was on my mind, because I was thinking, what are we going to talk about? So what popped up for me was to ask, or put it out there on the table. What is the biggest lesson that you've learned on this journey of yours, looking back?
Of the last month, or since being an entrepreneur?
No. For in your whole life. Let's look at that. What is the one thing that stands out for you that you've learned, that you might have thought, why did I not know that before? Or why did I not learn that before, that I do now, and it's helped me moving forward?
You know, my brother gave me some advice many, many years ago, and it doesn't quite fit into the category of saying, why didn't I learn that before? But it was more something that we probably all heard, we know, but it was just the clearest advice I was ever given. So I was still in high school, so I was in my teens, and my brother is 6 years older than me. So he was in his early 20s, and he ran a very successful business in the US at that time. Well, still in the US, but at that time ran a very successful business. And to say it slightly crudely, but he was making a lot of money. And I said to him one night, what makes you so successful? And I look back and I thought, I'm really glad as somewhere in my teens that I had enough presence of mind to ask someone that question. And I'll not only will I never forget his answer, but I actually reminded him of it. About a month ago, we were talking about something, and I brought up this conversation with him. And he doesn't remember saying it, but he went, well, that was pretty good advice. And what he said was, and to be honest, it probably the same advice that our dad would be giving us our whole life, which was, Alan said, no one works harder than me, and I never lie. And I'll never forget that. He said, no one works harder than me, and I never lie. And so, what I would say is, am I perfect? I'm not. I'm not at all. So for those listening, say, hold on, I know this guy, Jeff. Well, I like to think that in business world, I have very, very high levels of integrity. Am I perfect? I'm not. But I like to think, and what I really believe is I work extremely hard, and we run our business with integrity and transparency. And that's why I'll look back and I think that was the best advice. There's an old thing about saying you learn the best advice in kindergarten, share, say please and thank you, take a nap, play nicely with your friends. But I think those two things of work extremely hard and never lie. It's pretty tough to beat a competitor when that's their motto. And that's
Mm.
the way of doing things.
Nice. Well,
Excuse
thank you
me.
for sharing that.
Yeah. And I think that's the there's a great series that you've heard me talk about before that I share with my team every year called Best Year Ever and the Compound Effect by Darren Hardy. And he always talked about this, is that he always felt about himself that basically no one can outwork him. That's Elon's attitude. When Elon talks about doing a new company, he, like from the very earliest stages of PayPal and his other businesses at the beginning, he would often, you know, sleep in the office, sleep in the factory, sleep under his desk, and really grind and grind and grind. And why I think that's important to bring up, particularly in today's world, because I think because of things like the 4-hour work week, uh, and the stress for overuse of the word balance, getting balance in our life, uh, I think it can give the wrong impression. And equally, I can even cover me, I'm giving the wrong impression that you just have to work your whole life and that's all you do. I don't think that's true. So I think there's a point in time, particularly the startup of a company, where you have to put in the hours. It doesn't mean you have to do that for the next 40 years of your business, but I think there is that point where either during the first few years, the first few months, whatever it is, or like we have kind of right now, whether it was COVID or the current regional crisis, where you have to put in more hours, and you just have to grind. And I think um, I think that's the reality. And I don't know if this was picked up earlier, but I do think there's an over fascination with this idea of work life balance. Like since I joined Strategic Coach, I've got a much better outlook in how I do things. Um, but even Coach would say, in those first in that first startup phase, you've got to work really hard
Mm.
to make it happen. And that's what I've seen time and time and time again.
Yeah, because when you first mentioned about putting in the work, that's what came up for me was when, because we've had lots of conversation and you've mentioned about strategic coach, where they do say, no, you've got to give a day where you're not working.
Yep.
And that feels alien to us because that's what we're so used to always showing up, so used to putting in the hours again and again, especially if it's a startup and we've done it, but we feel that we can't let go. That this
Yep.
is something that we have to do all the time to keep the business going and going. But strategic coach says, look, appreciate all the work that you've done, but now you've got think about before you started that journey. You were thinking, you were dreaming. Where
Yep.
is that time?
Yep. And that's exactly the case. The danger is you get into the point where you have that startup mentality, and you lose you well you don't mature beyond that.
Mm,
You're still just grinding and grinding and grinding. And again, a lot of people enjoy hard work. I certainly do. And I think you know, even as you're growing and getting more stable, what happens is you get, again, to use another strategic coach phrase of the rugged individual, you get this idea that, well, it's only me and I've got to do everything.
mm,
And you don't build your team, you don't build people around you. And what happens is you get to 10 years into the business, which is pretty much when I was, and you're burned out and you're done.
yeah.
You just can't keep working and keep working, keep working. You don't have anything left to give more. And mainly because you have burnt yourself out by taking that early startup mentality and not adjusting it as
Mm,
you went on.
yeah.
And I think that that's a really critical factor, is that, as things get better and as the business develops, is get people around you to do those other roles, to let you focus on different things, and also so you don't get burned out, frankly.
Mm,
'Cause that's what can happen.
absolutely.
Yeah.
The biggest lesson for me was actually from you
Oh,
in when you suggested that I take the Colby test.
okay.
It was an eye opener for me
Hmm.
because, and oh, yes, it was too late from where
Never too late. Never too
they're
late.
never too late, but it made me understand the journey that I had been on and how I could have done things a lot different.
Yeah.
And it might have helped my business further on rather than me trying to show up on a daily basis doing something that wasn't natural within me or what I was bringing to the table.
Let
My
me,
yeah, go on.
so what I want to ask you, what specifically did you learn? But let me just, to fill in the audience a bit. So for those that don't know, a Colby test, if you go to colby.com, uh, we have no licensing, we have no promotional value here, but
No.
maybe we should. So it's colby.com, and you should take something called a Colby A. And it basically looks at, and Colby will shoot me because I'm doing probably a terrible job of explaining what it does. But basically, answer a series of questions, and over a very short period of time, and it'll give you um, insights into how you function when called upon. So when you've got to do something, when you're in active mode, when you're activated, and it basically marks you on 4 different areas, which are, if I go from mine, you have your fact finder, follow through, quick start, and implementer, which are 4 different cognitive ways that you deal with issues. So and you have an exceptionally high quick start. You're a 9 or a 10. What are you?
A 9. A
9. Okay,
9.
I'm a 7. So mine's high, but 9
Mm.
is it's very high.
Everything
So
else
so
was
what did
low.
you learn? Yeah, you were low on everything. I'm kind of middle of the road. I'm 6'5", 7'3". You're
Yeah,
quite low, then 9, then low again on implementer.
yeah.
So what specifically did you learn then when you from taking Colby, and how did it impact you?
Well, the fact that I love starting things, the fact that I'm a good
Right,
bringing things together and getting the right combination, but then I need to step away. I need to get someone who then can follow through. And
right.
I'm not that. And when I look back at my journey, I'm not that. I
Yeah,
got bored. And then tried to start different things within what I had already created while trying to then I was relying on the team to carry on my dream, my idea, but then I was like looking at other things. And that's why probably I started the podcast. But then I saw the podcast as a way as great introductions to CEOs and leaders of other businesses to benefit my business. But it was something that kept me interested in staying where I was. But I should have really just handed it over to a leader that could literally know the business that I created, because I hadn't come from that business sector
yep,
loosely, but I created something that I wasn't really interested in. And when I look back, I wasn't. I didn't show up where I should have showed up. I wasn't involved on the creative side. I just had the right people there. But if I had someone that was fully into it and had maybe had the experience before to run it, then it would have been a different story.
yeah.
I if I look back, 13 years isn't a bad record for someone that wasn't really,
Absolutely.
is a quick starter. So I did, I kind of figured it out in a way that worked.
Yep,
But if I look back, I should have let go. I should have just gone, this is me. This is what I'm good at.
yep,
There you go. And then go and do something else.
yeah. Well, if you, um, I'm sure you heard the story about. There's a great. Obviously, we all know who Walt Disney is. We know what he's done. We're all familiar with Walt Disney. Um, but I think it's his brother Ray Disney's the one that we don't know. And there's a great. So Ray Disney ran the business. Walt
Mm,
was the face. Walt was the creative. He literally created Mickey Mouse and so many other characters. He was the driving force behind the vision. But Ray ran the business. And there's a
yeah.
great quote from Walt. So where would you be without Ray? And he said, "I'd be in prison." For bouncing checks, because I can't run a business.
No.
And there's, we look at yourself with the incredibly high quick start. Would if if you were to go back and do it again, you would know that, okay, I'm going to put a team around me that is strong in these other areas,
Yeah.
right? That can do these parts, that can do this part, and that's what you need.
Yeah.
Um, and I think, again, I used to know Dan's Colby. I don't remember it, but it's very similar to yours. I think he's a 10 quick start, actually.
I think he is.
Uh,
I think he is. I think he's
yeah.
one up above me.
So he always has this phrase of no Babs, no coach,
Mm.
and without Babs Smith, his partner in business and partner in life, strategic coach wouldn't exist because what was he always say? He'd be on the 50th version of the strategy circle, just doing another version, doing another version, doing another version, just thinking up new ways of doing the same thing or doing different things, but no one to help him take the vision forward.
And
And that's obviously
sorry,
what you learned.
yeah,
Yeah.
and that's where I see myself now is I'm in that startup stage and I'm enjoying it and I'm laying the path, but I
Yep.
do know that I'm not interested in the business side and I will need someone that can
Yep.
walk beside me, that can literally run the business behind what I love to do.
Yep.
This is what I love to do. I love to present. I love to show up. I love to help people, but the back office, the paperwork, the accounts, etc.
That's not you.
That's not me. And
No.
I I do it and I know it's something that I have to do to start off with to keep on top of everything that's happening at the moment, just to keep on track of clients, guests, etc., etc. I'm creating a database that is strong with regards to contact information, etc., etc. But I do feel it's a little bit of a drag, but I have to keep on telling myself, no, this is important, this is important, and then when the right opportunity comes, then I will
Yeah.
have someone that's literally running the business because I know I can't do it.
Yeah. Yeah. Nothing wrong with that at all.
No.
The, the, I know I've shared this with you, but if allow the audience to put up with my nonsense, we've all been to concerts and shows and things like that. And the one example which I always love was a few years ago, Ed Sheeran was playing in Detroit, and Detroit's the home of Eminem. In the middle of his show, he started playing "Lose Yourself," the famous Eminem song, and Ed's playing it on guitar. Then the middle, out of the bottom of the stage, Eminem comes out and raps over part of it, and crowd goes crazy. And as I always like to say, Eminem didn't walk out to all the screams and then go, "Can you hear me in the back? Can you hear me?" You know, well, first of all, they would have practiced that all afternoon, or maybe the days before. They would have practiced it. They would have got the timing right. They would have done everything. Then
Mm.
the mic tech and the guitar tech, they would have tested everything. And there would have been guys with three mics right ready if one mic drops, so they can jump the next one in, so that the performer, the high quick start guy, probably, I've probably a feeling Eminem's is probably incredibly high as well,
Yeah.
can just get on and hit
Mm.
it,
Yeah.
right? And you need that. You can't have him running around testing the mics as he's on stage.
No,
And I
absolutely.
think that's if we look at where we're going with Majlis Masters, you know, my follow through is stronger than yours. So
Hmm.
as my quick start is not quite as high as yours. So we'll both have a lot of ideas. We have to be careful that we just don't have ideas and have ideas, that we actually implement stuff. And as we're implementing it, then we'll know that as much as I'm better at that than you are, not better, well, better, but just that's more my natural way of doing things. But then equally, I still need somebody. Mine's a 5 follow through, so I
Mm.
need somebody with an 8 at least around me.
Yeah.
That's picking that stuff up. So if you look
Yeah.
at my assistant Rom, she's an 8 follow through, perfect for what
Okay.
around me. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Oh, and Aaron
And
Quick
that's
starts a 2. Mm,
that's the nice thing. That's the nice thing
uh,
when you know it. You know how far you can go, and then you're ready. It's because it feels you do get frustrated if you can't do something.
yeah,
But when you know that it's actually this is a natural thing and you are good at this, so
yeah,
enjoy that. Go, 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 go. And then pass it on to someone that is naturally gifted in this area. Go, go,
yeah,
go as far as you can, and then hand it on. And it's brilliant. I wish I had tested it on all my staff rather
yeah,
than when I did it. So then you can see it's like a power play, isn't it? It's passing the right power to each person so they can be the best version. Well, I suppose I did that in a way with
yeah,
regards to how people showed up and tapped into their natural ability and gave them the space to grow themselves. But with this test, it's just a beautiful way of being clear on where their strengths lies.
Yeah. Well, the funny thing is, so my best friend Brad, who ran his own company for years, sold it, and now runs a a nonprofit entity called MAF, or Mission Aviation Fellowship for Canada. And his Colby and mine is almost identical, which actually shocked both of us. I mean, we've always got
Yeah.
along extremely well, but I think it's one number off from being the same. Uh, and why I mentioned him, because when you said but his staff, so he had all of his leadership team do it as well. And maybe even two levels down. And then they did a big day out where they went through everybody's, and Brad is literally the smartest person I know. And I remember him saying he couldn't believe that people thought differently than him.
Yeah.
It's like, but don't we all think like this? And I
Yeah.
mean, again, literally one of the smartest guys I know was shocked to find out that people think differently or process information differently, because he just has a
Absolutely.
certain way of processing and how you do it. He goes, "What? Doesn't everybody just do that?" No, what?
No,
Well,
but
and
that.
Gareth on my team, you've heard me speak of Gareth many times in the past. You know, he had a low quick start, but a very high fact finder.
Mm,
So Gareth needed information to be convinced. And we used to say that. You go, you know, I'm a high fact find. And mine's a little bit lower. So I'm like, I've got enough information. I'm okay. But he's like, no,
mm.
no, I need more information. And that's what he needed to be convinced to do something. And
Yeah.
that was an important thing with him.
Yeah.
You know, could you just tell him it's not enough? Well, I'm not convinced.
Mm.
It's not enough data. So he needed, but once he got the data, and it's like, okay, now I get it, then he'd be off. Yeah.
No, it's brilliant. And it's amazing when you go out into the big wide world. There's a lot of people that think, what, you don't think the same way as I do? You don't see the same things as I see? No,
Right.
we're all
Right.
we're all different.
Shockingly enough, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Well, I'm sure in your coaching world, you must see that so much about, again, perception and reality, that people will come on live with you and they'll be saying, well, you know, they didn't ask me to come here. They didn't ask me to come there. Therefore, they don't like me. It's like, whoa, whoa.
Absolutely. The narrative that we have in our heads, that we think that just because they said it this way, because we don't show up the same way. What? What?
Yeah.
They don't. That it doesn't make sense. And it's
Yeah.
just, yes, that's why as a coach, you kind of get them to see it from a different perspective, get them to see, and especially things that have happened in the past. The narrative in our heads is saying, well, this happened and they must have been doing this for this reason. And it's just like, well, actually, let's go back. Let's stand next to you so you're not feeling it. And then
Yeah.
let's look at it from the other point of view rather than
Yeah.
you being in it. So you're looking at it from a third perspective. It's powerful to
Yeah. Indeed.
then you see it from a different point of view, see it from a different perspective. So yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Anyway, thank you. Thank you, my man.
Pleasure.
I'm gonna sign off here. I think
Okay.
this is the beauty of these conversations, is that we
Yep.
tap into a question or a subject or something like that, we explore it, and then we go on to the next one.
Excellent. I'll see you on the next show then.
Thank you, my man. You have a good day.